So, there's this interesting discourse going on lately where Assassin's Creed Shadows has been riding a wave of controversy. And yet, on the flip side, Baldur's Gate 3's publishing director threw out a statement that, well, every big double-A game could be better.
Right, and it's wild how the discussion ranges from game quality to how opinions about a game get sort of monetized by influencers.
Exactly. Michael Douse, the BG3 publishing director, essentially argues that, it's totally fine to not like a game or even to hate one if it goes against your beliefs. But hating it just because some dude told you to is pretty off.
I like that. It's like, be your own dude, right? Don't let someone else's outrage drive your own passions or opinions.
Right. It's like you're building your own stance instead of like just echoing what everyone else is saying. And he really pushes the idea that any negative energy should come from, well, your own genuine thoughts, not just from following a trend.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to boil down to a call for critical thinking. But what's your take on how this ties into Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Well, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been quite successful in terms of reception. But its launch was preceded by a lot of online noise, especially regarding one of its protagonists, Yasuke.
Yasuke. That's the historical figure, right? A black samurai with real roots in history. And there's been debate over how accurate or respectful his portrayal is?
Yep. While Yasuke indeed was an actual historical figure who served under Oda Nobunaga, some gamers have questioned why Ubisoft chose to feature him, or even how they represented his story in a fantasy
That must have
context.
stirred up a lot. Absolutely. And it really emphasizes that sometimes controversies aren't just about game mechanics or graphics. They also tap into historical and cultural narratives.
Right. And what's interesting is that while Ubisoft backed the game by thanking fans for the heartwarming support, critics and some players were more vocal, even before really getting to play it.
So then Michael Douse steps in, basically saying like, look, don't let opinions shape your feelings if you haven't experienced the game yourself. It's almost a plea to form your own view.
Exactly. It's like he's gently challenging the idea that you should automatically join in a negative chorus just because a few influential voices insist so.
Right, But here's a point I want to challenge a bit. While that's a fair call, isn't it also true that sometimes collective voices highlight genuine issues, even if not everyone has tested the waters?
Yeah, fair point. I mean, if a large number of people are saying something is off, maybe there's some underlying issue. However, what Douse seems to stress is the economic angle, how 808 titles are pushed to be safe investments rather than true creative experiments.
That economic perspective is pretty insightful. He argues that the big product market is failing to resonate with the everyday player, largely because these games are designed to, well, not upset the masses.
Exactly. And it leads to a trade-off where creative integrity sometimes gets watered down. He even mentions that this tension is why we often see those big games ending up with scores flirting around the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's intriguing. So basically, while there's always room for improvement, the very nature of game economics forces developers to compromise, meaning no 8AA game is ever going to be perfect, economically speaking.
Right. It's like you're trying to please both the core gamers and the mass market, and sometimes that's a super tightrope walk.
And the director's call to not get swayed just because someone influential said so is a reminder to invest your passion wisely, right?
Exactly. It's all about owning your viewpoint and channeling any negative energy into something constructive. He literally says, make sure it's your own, which is a refreshing dose of accountability.
Yeah, for sure. I also find it fascinating how he ties back the discussion to KONIA risk management. The idea that to protect investment, companies often opt for less risky creative decisions.
Exactly. It's like, well, if you want to hit a huge audience, you're almost forced to play it safe with your narrative and gameplay mechanics. That might be why some games like Assassin's Creed Shadows attract a lot of heat, even if they're commercially successful.
And that, ironically, fuels the negative energy. people start hating on a game without really diving in, influenced by already politicized debates surrounding topics like historical representation and the balance of artistic freedom versus safe market choices.
Right. So there's a cycle. It's like, because the game might be crafted in a prudential way to avoid alienating the mainstream, the core fans feel, oh, you're not doing enough for us, and that gets amplified by community influencers immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of influencers, Douse's comment about not letting people monetize your passion really hits home in today's social media climate.
Absolutely. It's like, if you're turning your genuine love for gaming into something that's just reactive based on someone else's narrative, you're in danger of losing what originally made the experience meaningful.
And there's that subtle reminder, if the negativity isn't like truly your own, why invest your energy in it? It's almost a call for personal empowerment in how we approach reviews and critiques.
Exactly. You know, it's like when you're watching a movie or playing a game, sometimes you might not vibe with everything, but then influencers or opinion leaders can sway you to think a game is terrible well before you even give it a shot.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's sort of like a herd mentality, and while there's merit in community feedback, blindly following it can negate your own experience.
Exactly. And this is why Douse's message really stands out. Instead of, engaging in hate just because it's trendy, he's saying, stand on your own 2 feet, form your own opinions, and then, channel that energy into demanding more creativity in the industry.
But then, doesn't that also put a lot of responsibility on the fans to be, ultra-critical consumers of media? Not everyone might have the expertise or time to really dissect every element in a game.
True, and that's where it gets complicated. I mean, while it's great to be discerning, it's also understandable if some folks just feel strongly emotive about a game due to cultural or historical reasons.
Exactly. It's a balancing act between personal taste and having the time and energy to really dig into the creative process behind these massive productions.
And that's the crux of the issue, isn't it? The economic model of AAA games forces a sort of safe creativity, and then you have those very passionate fans who desire something more innovative. It creates this paradox where every big game could in fact be better, but the market dynamics make daring moves really, really costly.
Exactly. And Ubisoft's reception of Assassin's Creed Shadows, despite the noise online, kinda underscores that. The team was getting a lot of love from actual players, even if online discourse was a bit more polarizing.
Yes, indeed. While there's plenty of chatter and even controversy, at the end of the day, the game seems to deliver for those who actually give it a fair shot. It's like a reminder that genuine play experience matters more than viral negativity.
Absolutely. And that's a neat takeaway, that while every big AAA title might fall short of perfection, our passion for gaming should always come from a place of personal experience, not just from what some other voice dictates.
Exactly right. Embrace your own perspective, enjoy what resonates with you, and demand improvement in a thoughtful, creative way. That's the kind of approach that can push the industry into new, exciting territories.
Absolutely. Well said. It's a reminder to keep our passion authentic and not let the noise sway our genuine opinions.